Yes, ladies and gents, welcome back to another episode of the Red or Live podcast. I'm your host this evening, and I am joined by three of our regulars for another episode of Alexander Isak. What is the next chapter? And also the post-match review, not preview, review for the heart racing Newcastle Liverpool game that happened on Monday. But as mentioned, joined by my three regulars, Mark, Ross, and Rick. Mark, I'll come to you first, mate, because you're keeping up the theme of having one person on the pod in a car. How are you, pal? You're right.
Yeah, not bad. Yourselves, boys?
Yeah, all good. Thank you. All good. Ross, Rick, how are you, gents?
Yeah, all good. Thank you, mate. Yeah, it's been a nice week of football, but we'll get on to that, I'd imagine.
Damn right, Rick. You're feeling a bit rough, aren't you, mate? So I'll I'll keep your input to a minimum, but obviously we've got to have your input with the Isak stuff. But look, before we go into the reason that we're all here, obviously the football is back. Week number 2 in the Barclays Premier League. Is it still called the Barclays Premier League, actually? Or am I still old school calling it that? It's not, is it? It's something different now. Yeah, well, week 2 in the Premier League.
But it's not like you don't have a title on it now, like Barclays or Carl.
Yes.
It's just
Yeah.
Premier League.
Yeah, I'm old. It'll always be Barclays Premier League to me. But week number 2, Liverpool obviously were away on Monday night to Newcastle. Our co-host of the show, Ben, who's not here tonight, he's on the Guinnesses, and I think he will pop up in the chat at some point. Was there at St James's Park. Hell of a game. I'm sure everybody in the chat would have seen it by now. If they didn't live, they would have caught up with the highlights. Liverpool 3, Newcastle 2. Yeah, I'm going to let the gents kind of fill you in on it. Ross, I'll come to you first, mate. Bloody hell. I mean, we were obviously together at the first game of the season at Bournemouth, and we thought that one was bad for the heart. And then, Jesus Christ, Liverpool, Newcastle. Before we go into the actual game, I just want to get your thoughts on the starting 11. Obviously, we were missing McAllister. He wasn't playing. Obviously, we had the issue at right back, Jeremy Frimpong out into the international break. Bradley Gomez, fitness, a little bit up in the air. So we went with, obviously, Szoboszlai at right back. Jones in centre midfield, obviously the similar front three that we've seen before, and the rest was pretty much as expected. Gravenberch came back in. What was your thoughts on the starting 11?
Obviously, I thought it was a pretty strong lineup. I didn't think Szoboszlai would start right back, if I'm honest. I thought maybe Gomez or someone else would come in. But we've got a pretty strong team. We're missing a few players, like you said. Maka is a big miss for us, isn't he? Let's be honest. He's a huge miss. Great player. But I think based off, obviously, looking in hindsight now, that was probably the best team we could have put out there to face a Newcastle team that, let's be honest, under Eddie Howe, they are very, very difficult to face. And at St. James Park as well. It's a very difficult game. So I think, the right back was a bit of a surprise, but I think it was probably the strongest lineup we could have put out, given everything else that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, coming to you. I mean, I say week, but I mean pretty much for the last 6-7 weeks, Newcastle and Liverpool Twitter have been at each other's throats, obviously, over the ongoing saga of Isak, which we'll move on to. But it built up nicely. It seemed to spill over from Twitter, obviously, to Sky Sports, to the broadcasters, then into the stadium. Was it as fiery as you expected?
Yeah. Judging off, like, you had what was his name, Jamie Rubin, who's a co-owner of Newcastle. He put a tweet up, didn't he, on the morning saying, get into them or something like that. And then he quickly deleted it. I think the reporters as well from the Newcastle side, they've been stoking the fire, particularly one fella, one baldy fella. There's not many decent baldy fellas going. Obviously Arnie Slot apart, but there's been one baldy fucking reporter that's been, and apart from you, Rick, as well. But there has been one reporter who's been stoking the fire the last couple of weeks, hasn't he, with his very damning posts about Liverpool and how they've reacted and how he says, Isak's staying and, it's going to be a fiery encounter. So, you'd have to expect it. You know what? Anytime you go there, Liverpool go there, it's always a fiery contest. We played them in the final and we knew what we would be going into with their midfield today because it was on that day they were brilliant. So, Yeah, it lived up to everything and more for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Rick, I mean, there's so many elements to analyse on this game. Weirdly enough, it probably wasn't the best actual footballing spectacle that we're going to see all year. But, as Mark said, it's been stoked over the last couple of weeks via the media, via the fan bases. Obviously, even Jamie Rubens putting that tweet out before kickoff, which he deleted soon after that as well. But we'll kind of go through the games. I think we can that will tie into talking about Isak shortly, about the social media stuff. But the game itself, I mean, going to the first half, I mean, first 30 minutes were pretty much as expected, weren't they? Newcastle very much on the front foot. Liverpool kind of just trying to contain as much as they can. Then a goal from a bit of an unusual source, I think would be fair to say, Gravenberch. Did that first half, kind of breaking it down, first 30 minutes, the last 15 minutes, obviously the Anthony Gordon red card, is that how you anticipated that the start of the game would go?
Yeah, I thought we'd be under a bit of pressure early doors with the crowd up for it, because you see it before the game when the boys arrived, Newcastle fans outside booing and singing songs and whatnot at Liverpool's bus and that. Then you get into the game, I don't think the referee helped. Surely someone at the PGMOL could have said that, listen, with what's going on between the two clubs, the fan bases on social media and whatnot, like, just try and ref it the best you can. And he just absolutely melted after minute one. Every person that fell on the floor in Newcastle's way got a free kick. You even see the video of Van Dijk just absolutely having abusing him. Just like, there's two teams on the pitch that fucking make it equal. Like, every time they get touched, they're on the floor. But I expected the first 30 minutes. Then obviously Gravenberch hit a worldie of a shot that beat everyone. And yeah, then Gordon obviously lost his head. Probably got a bit of a flashback from last season when Van Dijk done him with a shoulder / elbow in the head. So Gordon probably looked for a bit of a revenge there, and obviously got red carded for it. But yeah, don't help that they're idiot co-owner or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know who the geezer is. I didn't know even it existed. I thought it was just the Saudis that owned Newcastle.
I didn't even know who he was until.
Yeah, I thought it was a blank account when he was putting co-owner.
I thought he was just another dickhead Newcastle fan that's been piping up all week.
And obviously,
that's why he's in Oxford. That's why, if you see, those flight trackers of him tracking Liverpool.
He's gone half an hour after the game had finished. Shit.
Yeah, back to Oxford. Yeah, that's who he is.
And he obviously tweeted that thing out because he's at time to fuck off when he went round his ass for a cup of coffee earlier in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Ross, the first half, if you said there would be a goal, was it 3 yellow cards and then a sending off? And then if you turn around and actually said that the second half was more eventful than the first half, I mean, obviously, Liverpool looked like they had it game, set, and match in the first 20 seconds. Arne Slot missed the second goal, which is quite funny. But Liverpool went 2-0 up. Looked like it was going to be a routine victory. And then, I mean, I don't even know how you would describe what proceeded to happen after that. But over to you. I mean, what on earth did you make of the second half and how it played out?
Well, after the second goal, you kind of think we just managed the game. But I think we were speaking offline about it in the chat, and we're saying our game management was awful. We allowed them back into the game. Well, let's be honest, 2 very sloppy goals. Kirkes on the back post, marking Bruno. Should have been better there. God knows what Konate was doing for Osula's goal. The entire back line was sleeping a little bit, and we seen it at Bournemouth, and maybe we're making a bigger issue out of it than what it needs to be. We won't know until the season goes on, but I think we just lacked that game management. We should have just kept calm, pass it around the field, look for opportunities. But this is football, and we know very well, we don't make it easy for ourselves. When have we ever made it easy for ourselves? So yeah, I think eventful game, amazing second half, obviously for us, poor Newcastle fans at the end. But yeah, it was definitely eventful, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mark, obviously, we know a moment from the young kid, Rio Ngumoha, obviously won Liverpool the game in the end. But, I mean, the story of it was a pretty sloppy Liverpool performance, especially in the second half, going 2-0 up. I mean, what went wrong with Liverpool? Before they scored the third, it just seemed to completely capitulate at 2-1. What went wrong for Liverpool?
Substitutions, possibly. I think when we went 2-0 up, I thought then, right, we've got the game won. Go now, control the game, but keep the intensity, keep pressing, keep attacking, pick your moments. I think the goal caught us by surprise. I was saying to Ben today about it. I thought the goal, you can't complain about when you score and what time, but I think that second goal come far too quick. It's come right at the second half. I think if we did add another 10 minutes and then we'd scored, like, say, 60th minute, I think their heads would have went. But I think he changed it up. He went very aggressive. I think he went with the 4-3-2. Someone put up a post today that it was a brave formation. And they give, that midfield three that we keep talking about, they give everything they need. They covered every blade of grass and they put us under immense pressure. And they kind of used our weaknesses. When they attacked our weaknesses and, getting the balls into the box, set piece again. Other than that, they just bombarded us. But, what a moment for Rio. I can't even pronounce his second name because I tried to say the other day. I was like, we scored it. I don't know, Rio. But what a moment, though. People have been like, we need another attacker, which we do. But when you're seeing stories like this, Rio is going to get, the minutes. Now, instead of buying someone, long may he continue. If he's going to produce the goods like this, you can't complain, can you? You've got to back the manager and certainly back the player when he does get his chance. And he's going to take his chances over like this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's, and someone might correct me, I think it's Rio Ngumoha. I think that's how you pronounce it, but someone might
say Ngumoha, isn't it? Ngumoha, I can't pronounce it properly.
No, I was sticking with Rio. No,
especially for the Scouser.
One of the commentators said it, and I was like, right, I'm going to remember that, Ngumoha. But someone might correct me on that, but I think that's how it's pronounced. Rick, just before we pivot, do you agree with this?
Mate, all I'm going to say is lucky Ben ain't on the fucking show, isn't he? Like, I mean, absolute waffle is this, yeah.
Just block him.
Geezer won the Premier League. How can you call him a shit manager? Fucking hell, man. Out you go, lad.
Yeah, no, I think you might be in the minority with that one. But I want to touch on this one because one player, before we go on to talk about what everyone wants to talk about, I want to talk about Szoboszlai because he, obviously, the night ended up belonging, and so it should, to young Rio for the goal. But Szoboszlai, obviously, as Ross mentioned, played at right back in the absence of, obviously, Bradley and Gomez still getting up to fitness. Frimpong's out into the international break. I thought he was outstanding at right back. I thought he'd done an excellent shift. And then right at the end, I think he showed that bit of class I think all Liverpool fans know that he has, and that we're just still waiting to see come out on that more of a regular basis with him. But Rick, I just want to give you the last comment on this. Dominik Szoboszlai got man of the match. Do you agree? And what did you think of his performance?
Yeah, I thought that was his best performance in a red shirt, if I'm being honest. Makeshift right back, we all know it's not his position. Slot said at the start of the game, he's still an attacking midfielder, but I just think with the energy and the work rate of Szoboszlai, you can play him in any position on that pitch and he'll do you a job. Gordon weren't on the pitch long enough to have to trouble him much, but he dealt with Harvey Barnes with ease, if I'm being honest. There was one stage when a ball come in and the defensive awareness to header it away from whoever was behind him was class for a person that ain't supposed to be in them sort of positions. He done very, very well. But yeah, him and that's also Van Dijk as well. That was, I think, his best performance for a very, very long time because he had to deal with a clown next to him as well. To be fair, he had to deal with a clown either side of him in Konate and Kirkes. So yeah, Van Dijk, unbelievable as well. But Szoboszlai definitely was man of the match for me.
I would have given it to Virgil myself. Like, I think he was so. Yeah. He didn't look like a 30-foot. There's been a few shit been thrown at fans like the last couple of weeks that he started to look his age, and he just completely proved to everyone wrong again that he is the number one centre back in the world. And I reckon with Szoboszlai, why he looks so good, because everything was simple for him. I think he's a bit of a simple footballer, I think the goals that we've given away the last few weeks is when he's been trying to be too clever with the ball, but he had to do a job and stick to that job, and that was it. You know what I mean? So,
do you know what that performance reminded me of? Szoboszlai's performance. You know those days where we had Milner and Milner would come in at right back on that odd occasion, and Milner just did the basics. And to be fair, my mate told me this when I was chatting with him offline. He had that Milner-like engine just to get the basic stuff done. Just do it simply, get rid of it. And to be fair, Verge was amazing, but I think Szoboszlai was man of the match. I think to be in our position, to do the basics right. And then when he went into midfield later on in that game, I thought he was excellent in midfield as well.
Yeah,
and I think
step over deserves an assist more than what
Saga
got. No, you can't.
But no, he's amazing.
You know, because he heard the shout, obviously, but he doesn't know where he is. Because for me, Szoboszlai can take the touch there and bury it himself, but he let it go through his legs. So fair play to him.
Yeah, Thierry Henry said he deserves the assist for it. Obviously, technically, he won't get it because he didn't touch it. But I mean, when Thierry Henry's giving you that kind of compliment, I mean, he was very complimentary in general about that. You know, Rio and Szoboszlai. But yeah, I mean, look, it was a absolutely ridiculous game of football, and I'm hoping it was a one-off because there was a lot there for Liverpool to not like. But yeah, I don't think I can deal with that. But obviously, I mean, the big reason that it was such a hyped game. I mean, look, Liverpool-Newcastle is always a great game, always is. But there is an extra added element of fuel to the fire with this, and obviously, it is Liverpool's pursuit of Alexander Isak, which. I mean, we started this pod at the beginning of the summer, and we've been riding the Alexander Isak coattails on every show, to be perfectly honest with you. And we're here, obviously, on the 27th of August. And probably since the first podcast that we've done up until now, the deal is pretty much in the same place. I think it's fair to say. Obviously, Isak has upped his side of the bargain, upped his antics. Obviously, the statement that he put out on the night of the PFA Awards. He's obviously officially gone on strike. I think he's pretty much done everything apart from an official transfer request. But there does seem to be, I will say, a bit of a change in narrative from the Newcastle journos after full time on Monday night. Obviously, there was a report that came out, as the lads were just speaking about. Jamie Rubens was in attendance, as was Yasser from PIF. And there was a report that came out that they obviously attended Alexander Isak's home to obviously have a conversation about his future, talk to him and see if they could persuade him. Then came out. What's that,
what home's that? Because apparently he's put it on the market, hasn't he? So
in his tent, the tent in Tesco car park, I would imagine something like that. But the report came out. They had a conversation with him, and then followed Tuesday morning yesterday that it was unsuccessful, and that Isak is still very much determined to move on from Newcastle. So again, as I say, if we put it bluntly, I mean, it's pretty much the same situation that it was 6 weeks ago. Liverpool are desperate to sign Alexander Isak. Alexander Isak's desperate to move to Liverpool. Newcastle don't want to sell him unless certain conditions are met. Look, Ross, I'll come to you first. I mean, I know kind of everyone on this call, everyone in our group chats, everyone we know, there is a bit of a divide in how everybody feels that this Isak saga is going to play out. I know you're one of the more positive ones, so just keen to obviously get your thoughts on, firstly, kind of what you think of Isak's movements the past couple of weeks, obviously since the statement of the PFA Awards or the night of, and then also kind of how you think this is going to play out over the last few days of the window.
Obviously, from Isak's perspective, I think we've all been pretty clear that we don't necessarily agree with the actions that he's done. So, it's difficult. And like from a Newcastle perspective, obviously they're not happy. We wasn't happy when Coutinho did what he did and Suarez did what he did. I think from a Liverpool perspective, obviously we're happy that a player is going to these lengths to try and join the club. And in terms of where this lands, as you said in the group chat, we're pretty much divided. But I do genuinely think he's going to be holding a red shirt by the time, when is it? Monday, 7:00 it closes?
Yeah.
So I think by Monday he'll be holding a red shirt. And it all comes down to Newcastle again. And I think this is where the most frustration comes from, because all we've had is recycled information about Newcastle need to get these players in to allow Isak to leave, and we've seen him go after player and not be able to get him in through the door. It looks like there's some legs in that Larsson deal from Wolves. And I genuinely think if Newcastle can get that Larsson over the line, which I think he's a wicked player, I think he would do well at Newcastle. Chatting to one of my Newcastle mates, I think he's got a crazy conversion rate as well, Larsson. So put him in a better team with the likes of Alanga and Gordon, I think he'll absolutely shine. But as soon as, if they do get that Larsson over the line, I think that unlocks the door. I think they'll allow Isak to leave. The narrative, as you said, Matt, has shifted massively over the last week or so. Everything was like, PIF delegates are going to meet Isak, and then it come out, Isak has basically said, I want to go regardless of what you're saying. I'm not changing my mind. I don't see it any other way. I think history repeats itself in similar situations. When players do this, they typically get their moves, whether that's now, whether that's 6 months from now. So yeah, I'm confident by Monday we'll see him holding up a red shirt, having hugs off Richard Hughes and Arnie Slot.
Yeah, Rick, I'll come to you. Mark, are you all good? I just look like you have some technical problems. Are you all good now?
Yeah. Phone's trying to blow off again on me.
No problem, Rick. I'll let you have a little bit more of a rest then. Mark, I'll come to you because I know you've been quite positive as well with regards to Isak happening. If we're looking at the optics of it, what will be Wednesday? So we've got, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, half of Monday. So we've got 4.5 days after the transfer window. How do you see this playing out? Obviously we've had I think, Ross used the correct term there, a lot of recycled media. I mean, it's obvious that the Newcastle journos are obviously, and fair play to them, they're using the biggest transfer for a long, long time to get clicks. But the story stayed the same, and it has been the same. What changes now, and how does this deal now get done?
Well, it's getting to the point now where Liverpool can't wait anymore for them to replace Alexander Isak. So Liverpool now have got to go and just get in touch with them and say, we're just going to pay close to what you want. So you can sort out after that how you're going to replace him, but we're not giving you that option now to give you the chance. Because at the end of the day, I think Liverpool are doing Newcastle a favour, because if Liverpool now give them 130, 140, 150, whatever Liverpool decide to give them, they know the likes of Wolves then, Brentford then know they've got the money. So I think Liverpool holding back. That's why I think this encouragement thing is mainly based on that Liverpool are giving them a chance so they can go about their business without being stung, because they know there's big money coming their way. So I just think Liverpool now needs to because we haven't got the luxury of 2 weeks anymore. Like you said, it's 4.5 days. Liverpool now have got to just get on the phone to them or whatever way they get in touch with these clubs now, how they do it, and just turn around and go, right, we've given it enough time now. Whether you get fucking Stan Larson, Fisher, fucking Bob from the corner shop, fucking Tony from the Tesco, we don't care how you replace them now. We just want Isak, and you worry about that now for the next 3 days. Liverpool can't wait, because I fear that it is Isak or no one now. And that's just the way it's going to be till at least January. So Liverpool can't fucking mess around anymore. Just go and get the deal done now. Stop waiting for them, because they may not replace them in time now, or they may only get one, and that's their excuse not to sell them. Call their bluff now and say, right, you want 150, 140, whatever it is you want, here you go. Now give us our player, and then you worry about replacing him.
Yeah, absolutely. Rick, I know you're kind of a bit more like me. Probably, I would say flip-flopping, seesaw in between how you think it's going to play out. And to be fair, it is difficult to form a definitive opinion if you're taking it on face value, because it seems to all of a sudden you think, oh, okay, this looks promising. Then the next media article is then pulling you away from it, and then you're back into it. And it's very difficult, I think, to form a solid opinion based on what the media is putting out there. But, the line, the official line from Liverpool, and again, it has been since that bid went in for £110 million, that Liverpool will bid if they're given a green light / encouragement. What does that look like? If Liverpool are expecting encouragement, what does that look like? Is that an actual phone call from Newcastle to say, look, we're looking at discussing it? Is it a replacement? And at what point do Liverpool have to make the call that they just need to go in and make this move for Isak?
I think the encouragement's been given over the last week, I think, to come in for a bid. Obviously, them going round to his house, him telling him to fuck off, has got to be encouragement. There's apparently Michael Edwards was at the Newcastle game as well. So there's no smoke without fire if they're there. Obviously, Newcastle's owners are there. They obviously went round to Isak's house in the daytime to have a conversation. So talks would have gone on after that game. I do agree with Mark. It is Isak or no one. And it ain't a bad thing. Listen, we don't, like Ben said on another show we did, we don't just want to get numbers in who ain't the quality to come in and do something. We need quality in our team now. Isak is that. Do I think Isak comes? Yes. I still believe he comes. It might go late. It might be Friday. I think you might hear something tomorrow afternoon, potentially. If they get Larson, which they look like they're potentially doing, if they're putting another bid in. Listen, they're never going to put another bid in knowing Wolves ain't going to sell. What's the point? It's just a waste of time. So Wolves are obviously open to selling for the right price. 60 plus 5 million add-ons is the rumoured price that Newcastle are going with, so hopefully that gets done. But people say there's only like 4.5 days left of the windows. To get this sort of bid done and through the door, I think most of it's done. I think the price is agreed. I think terms are agreed with Isak. As soon as the bid gets accepted, it'll be more or less done. The only thing that's probably waiting to be done is a medical. But I just think if after tomorrow Newcastle still ain't got their ducks in order, Liverpool just need to go is 135, 140. You turn that down, you're fucked, basically. If I'm Edwards, I'm telling them boys, you don't take this money, you are done. Because you're not getting nowhere near the same amount next summer for him. He ain't going to play. Like, people keep saying, you can find him all you want. He ain't going to play. Then he'll kick up another fuss in January. And then it'll be the whole thing for another month for that. People saying that he can get fined by UEFA and stuff like that. He can't. The PFA will block that. So if he feels that he's been unfairly treated, then he's got reasons to not want to do anything. But I do agree with some people as well. If where's the transfer request? It's too late now to do that. The transfer request is too late. That should have happened weeks ago. So him doing a transfer request will change nothing from what's going to happen. All it will do is save Newcastle millions. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want him to put the transfer request in to save them money, but we'll have to see. I do think it will get done, and I'm hoping we'll hear something tomorrow/Friday morning.
Can I just add something? Sorry, the whole thing about Rick, and I know he's going in about like we just got to kind of show our hand if this goes on and just go, here's the money, take it or leave it type of thing. I think there is a bigger picture where we know that no matter what Newcastle fans will say, I think we act quite respectfully as a club. And I think there's a game to be played in the media where Newcastle have to come out of this and they have to look like they've won, whether that's via replacements and an extortionate amount of money. And that's where I think this deal has dragged on a little bit, is because we're waiting on good news for them, and good news just hasn't come because they haven't been able to get anything over the line. But then, as Mark and Rick have both said, at what point do you stop being nice and you go, take the money, have it? But I do think there's that bigger picture at play where there's a media game. Newcastle have to come out of this looking as if they've won.
Thing is, so Ross, how long have Liverpool got to give it? You know, they can't keep sitting here and waiting because of Liverpool. At the end of the day, there's two. It's not Isak's and Liverpool's fault that their deal can't get done because they're nets in the window. There's got to come a point where they've got to accept he doesn't want to play for them anymore. They've got to let him go. They're still going to get a lot of money for him. And whether they do it now and spend it now or they spend it in January, they've got to realise that they can't say to him, you're not going because we're fucking shite in the window and we can't replace him. Because he's told them 2-3 months ago that he was going. And I think because of who owns them and the fact that they think they're a massive, super huge club, they've just thought, I don't want to come in with that money. He won't want to come out, because I think it's took him by surprise that he's gone public with it. And he said, no, I want out, and that's it. I just don't think they can accept it. But it's not Liverpool and Isak's fault that they won't let him go, because they can't replace him. Liverpool's just got to take a stand now and go, listen, you know what, we've given you a chance. It's 4 days before the window ends. We need to get him in now. We need him. And we're not waiting for you to fucking replace him before you say, go on, fellas, you can get him now. Because I don't think that's going to come anyway. I think the encouragement will come from, they sign a player, Liverpool go, right, there you go. There's our trigger.
That's where I take confidence in the deal, though, if I'm honest, Mark. The fact that we haven't walked away, and there's been that huge period of time between that first 110 million bid, and it's been radio silence. Let's be honest, from the Liverpool side of things and the reliable reporters, it's been pretty radio silent from the guys we listen to. I take confidence from that, because Liverpool would know if there wasn't a deal to be made, whether they get a replacement or whether they don't get a replacement or whatever it may be, they would have walked away. If there was no feasible option, they would have walked away by now and said, and that's where I'm confident.
For you, then. Do you think that Liverpool got the encouragement yesterday when they reported that they tried to, they went to his house, tried to convince him to stay, offered him a new deal, and he still swerved them? Do you reckon that's enough encouragement for Liverpool to realise and go, there's our encouragement now? Why would they put that out there 4 days before the window? Why they're still bidding for Larson and Visser, and then they put that out? If they didn't want to sell him, they would try their best not to get that out there. So to me, that is like low key. Them saying, there's your encouragement.
I think the structure of the deal, taking out the conditions of replacements, I think the structure of the deal is already been discussed and may not be agreed, but may be that a framework agreement is in place where they've talked about a figure, they know the rough add-ons, etc. And the reason I think that is because if they were not selling Alexander Isak, the window shuts in a week. They would have had the perfect opportunity, an hour before kickoff, going into that Liverpool game, to brief David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, the big journos, not their ones, the big ones that everyone listens to, and said, Alexander Isak will not be leaving Newcastle this window. And can you imagine the repercussions that would have had going into the game if they dropped that through the media, and they haven't? So I think the encouragement's already been kind of like waved on, but I do still believe that they want to try and get the replacement in. Now, how that looks, because obviously the Strand Larsen one, I mean, I think Liverpool will give them the Strand Larsen third bid before they buy. I think if this third bid goes in and gets rejected, I think Liverpool will say to Newcastle, we can't fucking wait around anymore. Like, we need to go public with this. We've agreed a deal. We want to push ahead a bit. And if you're going to keep stalling, we can't. So I think you'll see something move after this bid, the third one, whether it's accepted or rejected. I just wanted to touch on this comment here. The Gay one, we're going to do an Arsenal preview, and the Gay stuff will be in that, because there'll be discussion around Kanai and stuff, so we will touch upon that. But just to kind of catch up with some of the comments as well. I mean, pretty much everyone's saying the same thing. Just, get the bid out there. I mean, Rash has put, we don't need a bad apple at Liverpool. And I wanted to touch on this comment as well. I don't believe he's a bad apple. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and condone players striking and not going to games and not training, because I don't want it to happen with players at Liverpool. I would hope Liverpool would deal with it in a better situation. It didn't reach that. But, Eddie Howe's confirmed that they had a conversation at the end of the season. He pretty much confirmed what Isak said in his public statement. There's obviously way more to this situation than is being let on via the club's mouthpieces in Newcastle in the Northeast. So I don't think he's a bad apple. I think he's desperate, if I'm being honest. I think he's frustrated, he's desperate, and he doesn't know what to do. So I don't believe that. And also Gary saying the Saudis won't sell. And they will. And I've been an advocate again for saying that the Saudis would be tough. They are very ego-driven. I think they think a lot more about power than footballing decisions.
But they're also powerful in the world, but they're not powerful in football.
Exactly.
Player power beats everything. If a player wants something, they get it.
I think Yasser would have thought that he could go to Isak and turn this himself, and he hasn't been able to. I think that would have been a wake-up call. And I also think the fact that Newcastle have now kicked the season off, and they've now, because if we're being realistic and we're not going to be rose-tinted fans, if Alexander Isak was playing for Newcastle on Monday, Newcastle had a very good chance of winning that game with that performance that we put on there.
I think they would have won it.
Definitely. Yeah. And Aston Villa, they definitely would have won. So, Eddie Howe at some point is going to be having to go to the chairman and go, look, we can't keep just throwing games away to try and win this battle of ego and because we're losing games and we need strikers. And if they honestly believe that Isak's going to bench himself till January, they will have to sell.
I think that meeting, Matt, that you mentioned on Monday, I think that was the last attempt to try and say, can we kind of get him to stay? But yeah.
I think that meeting happened way before Monday night, by the way. I think that happened probably a week or so ago. I don't think that happened Monday night. I think, well, Mark, I'll ask you, there's been a narrative that, that they were never going to sell him before this game. And it does make sense because they would not want Isak to play against Newcastle at St James's Park in the first home game of the season. Do you believe that there has been agreements behind the scenes post this game and that this has been the blocker to a deal happening? Or do you think it is just a coincidence and what we're seeing playing out in the media is the case?
Well, I certainly don't think the fixture helped, did it? Second game of the season, first home game for them. I don't think they would have had direct. I think if Liverpool had their way, they would have had Isak in the door 3-4 weeks ago if they had their way. A week after we got Ekatike in. But I think obviously, they bit down on the gum shield and tried to fight the resistance of selling them. Obviously, they've tried. I think the one that's really pissed them off to a point where they went like, wait, we're not selling you. And I think that's why they've gone round to his house was the Sesko deal. I think if the Sesko deal had gone through, I think then they would have been a bit more relaxed. I think they're panicking a little bit because I think they know that they're not going to replace Alexander Isak. He's the best player. He's the best striker in the league, probably one of the best in the world. It's impossible to replace. It's like us now trying to say, Van Dijk leaves. You're not going to replace him. You've got to try and get something that's, you've got to just try and replace the man. Replace the position, rather than the player itself. They've just got to accept that. But I don't think the fixture had anything to do with it. Obviously, it would have been. I think it would have been if he'd scored. Imagine if he was in that position that Rio was, and he buried it. I think there would have been riots. There would have been absolute chaos, murder, the lot. I don't think it played into it. I think Liverpool wanted them in weeks ago. I think as it's got closer to the game, I think things have happened where they've gone, right, we obviously can't sell them now until after the game. I don't think anything's been agreed in terms of, I think there's an acceptance between both clubs what the fee is going to be, but in terms of the breakdown and what's going to get paid, I actually think that this deal will be one of the first ones that'll be, there's no add-ons in terms of player, in terms of appearances, what he wins and all that. I think Newcastle will get, say if it's 130, 140, 150, they will get 150 over the staggered payments. It won't be an appearance one because I think Liverpool can't miss around. The closer it's getting now to deadline day, Liverpool's just got to, because I think the 110, wasn't it? That was the bid of 110. That was
straight 110.
Cash, no appearances or nothing. And I think that'll appeal a lot. I think if Liverpool can get them for 130 straight up cash, no fucking add-ons, I think the deal will be done. But Liverpool can't mess around now. And I think if that bid's not accepted tonight for Stan Larson, Liverpool will have to just say, right, we're going to have to press on now. And we're just going to have to... Liverpool will probably have to pay a lot more than what they want to if they want to get him in now, if they can't replace him. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Chris reiterated it there. Obviously, saying he was never going to... That was my opinion when they were talking about the fixture as well, Chris, was that he's had no pre-season. It would have been very, very unlikely. And I mean, if they'd sold him even Saturday morning before the Monday, he wasn't registered to play anyway. But I suppose, I don't think it was a conversation. I think probably as it got closer to the game, they probably thought, oh, well, we can't run the risk of doing it that close to the game. But I don't think it's been holding the deal up since, middle of June, I think this all started. And then obviously Badger said that...
We didn't know what we were playing Newcastle till, the 8th of June, the fixtures come out, so I don't think it had any relevance, to be honest.
No, I agree. I think that the price is going to be completely dependent on what Mark just said. If they push ahead of it now before they've got a guaranteed replacement, I think it's 150 or no deal. I really, really do think they'll be that harsh of it. they get Strand Larsen or Vissa, I think you can probably get the deal done at about 130, 135. And then just kind of people, I mean, this is the frustration that we're all having to live out multiple transfer windows for different clubs, aren't we, at the moment? We're having to go through the Palace one, the Newcastle one, the Wolves one. But Rick, I want to ask you, are you a little bit surprised at, I say, how quiet it has been since the game on Monday? Because I think we all secretly at the back of our head, regardless of what we say here, did think we might wake up Tuesday morning, the David Ornstein deal sheet at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we probably all hoped deep down that there was going to be that bang Liverpool move. It's not come yet. There's been whispers and bits and shit from the Newcastle journos, but still radio silence from Liverpool then. Are you a little bit surprised still, as we are, 20 to 6 Wednesday evening, how quiet it still is?
Yeah, I thought it was coming out Tuesday morning, Tuesday lunchtime, something would have come out, but nothing come out, and I thought, Tuesday evening then, normally you get something at 6 o'clock, something comes out. Nothing did, bar the Newcastle going for Larsen and stuff. And then today I thought something would come out, it ain't come out. So, I guess we'll have to go again tomorrow because it don't look like anything tonight. Then, like I said, Richard Hughes only works on Fridays, so you probably fit fuck all tomorrow as well. But it's got to come sooner or later. Like, could you imagine we don't sign Isak and nothing comes out at all? It just goes throughout the whole window, it closes, and that's it. Like nothing.
I don't think it will.
No, I wouldn't have. It would be kind of like borderline funny, wouldn't it? If every day this just happened until the window closed on Monday, it'd be Saturday deadline day. Like, what the fuck's happened? But no, I don't think that'll happen. I think I think even if there isn't a, I think we've just given Ali Peter. No, I don't think that will happen, Ali. Sorry to give you a heart attack. I don't think that will happen. I don't think even if Liverpool don't sign a replacement Ross, I still think they would pull out before Monday. I don't think they're going to just let this fizzle out. I think if they're going to want to take some control of this. I think at the worst case scenario, I think Liverpool will probably want to at least have the say of going, we're pulling out.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there'll be like silence on the deal. Whether the journals our side are briefed on it, there needs to be some clarity given from both sides. As I said earlier on in the kind of chat, we from our side, I think we've been very quiet. We've gone in with a bid, and otherwise nothing's reported other from the Newcastle journals saying we're still interested, or Ornstein saying the interest remains there. So I think the clarity will be given one way or another. As I said, I'm confident that it swings our way. I'm more thinking about the bigger picture. Optics have got to be played. As I said, Newcastle have got to be seen coming out of this as a win. And if we sign Isak, that's a win for us anyway, isn't it? So the media side of it isn't really as important. We'll hear something. I know all of us are sick of it, and let's be honest, like, in the group chat, all of us are going back and forth and telling each other to shut up. What's going on? Do you know what I mean? It's part and parcel of it. Newcastle fans want an end of it. We want an end of it. So there'll be some clarity given whichever way it swings. But I think it'll swing in our direction, personally.
I think the simple fact of the matter, just to add something, I think the sensitivity of the game, the way we won it, I don't think Liverpool would have, or Newcastle would have envisioned pissing anyone off. Their own fans by saying like Liverpool have made the bid. I think Liverpool just letting that just settle on that, and then I'm sure surely by something tonight, tomorrow, we've got to hear something. If there's nothing come by Friday, Saturday, I'm going to get a little bit worried then, because I'm thinking it's starting to fit. Like Rick said, it might start fizzling out, and you might hear something from one of our. I think Joyce will be the one that'll either say the deal's happening or it's not. And I think if it's comes to Sunday after the Arsenal game that it's going to fizzle out, I think he'll be the one to turn around and go, right, it's not happening now. They're going to revisit it in January, and Liverpool are not going to make any more signings, probably other than hopefully Mark Gay. So let's just see what happens. It's we're in the key fucking. I sound like the man now. We're in the key moments now, aren't we?
Key hours ahead.
Yeah, the key hours ahead. The is that could happen any day now. We've just got to sit there and just hopefully be patient to see what happens now. That's all we can really hope for.
Yeah, I mean, David Ornstein is as reliable as it gets. He's the one that I will listen to, whatever he says. And I mean, his opinion is this deal can happen at any moment, on any day, at any hour. So it is going to just come out of nowhere because it has to at this point, because the window shuts Monday. This isn't speculation. Gary, just to ask me, be realistic on what? Sorry, mate. And I want to just bring up this one from Ali, because I think we've all struggled a little bit with this. I mean, we know our journos. Obviously, you've got the main ones, which is Ornstein and Romano. I know Romano can be a little bit opinion dividing, but but with his actual information, he is very good, and he's very rarely actually wrong. And obviously, we know our ones. Obviously, we know Joyce. Obviously, Lewis Steele has come on the scene in the last year or so. I know James Pearce is. I love James Pearce, but I know people, again, it's opinion divided. But normally, we would trust him. But there's been 3 journos on the Newcastle side that have kind of taken the limelight here. Craig Hope, Lee Ryder. So Craig Hope is from the Daily Mail. Lee Ryder is from the Chronicle Live. And Luke Edwards, who I don't know what Luke Edwards is. I think he's the Times or the Telegraph.
No bed.
Is he independent? Independent paper or whatever he is.
Keith Downey, to be fair, Marty, as well.
And Keith Downey.
He's quite level-headed. Luke Edwards, considering that he's Leighton Orient fan, he's taken everything fucking personal, isn't he?
He's not. He's had a terrible window. Even if the Isak stuff is right, I mean, he's had a terrible window. And I said to him the other day on tweet, I don't think you can brag. I mean, he tweeted, for example, that Newcastle had reopened talks with James Trafford, and genuinely, no sooner has he hit enter on his tweet, Fabrizio Romano broke the news that James Trafford had signed for Manchester City. The guy is just. Is on a different planet. But the reason I was bringing this up is because I'll take Luke Edwards out of it for now. Lee Ryder, Keith Downey, and Craig Hope. All similar kind of lines, but all still kind of contradicting himself. And the reason I say this is Craig Hope has reported this evening that Wolves are expected to decline offers from Newcastle, even if it exceeds £60 million. Keith Downey has said on Sky Sports News that Newcastle are still going into bid for 60 million for a third bid with Strand Larsen. But Lee Ryder, again, he has been someone who's campaigned all day over the last 24 hours that Newcastle are confident that they will get Strand Larsen. Now, if he is the reliable source in this, he has put this morning, it's 7 hours ago, that Newcastle United is still waiting for fresh contact on Alexander Isak as the striker waits for Liverpool to put in a new bid. And then he plugs his interview that he'd done with another source later. Mark, that's encouragement, is it not? If that's legitimate information via Lee Ryder, and he's got that from the club, that is initiating encouragement, in my opinion. Would you not say?
Yeah, it just depends, doesn't it? Because, like I say, the back and forth that we've had in the group about if it's happening or not has been the contradictory. Like, I'm sure the other day, Craig Hope said something about, they need 2 strikers in. And then it went, they need 1 striker in.
Yeah.
And then the next minute, it's back to 2 strikers in. And then they're not selling them. It's just, you don't know where the encouragement's coming from, because you think, there's the encouragement. And then the next minute, the narrative change. I honestly think they haven't got a clue. And sometimes being quiet, because that's in the other day, Liverpool are the biggest engaging fans on X. They're absolutely raking it in terms of money at the moment, because every time they put something up, you see the replies. It's Liverpool fans. Every one of them replies. They're absolutely made up. They're just putting up something controversial just to fucking stoke the fire, to get interactions, to get their money. That's all they're doing it for. But I think the biggest encouragement is that they can all agree on, even Baldy Luke, is all that they've gone to the house side to convince him. That, to me, is the biggest encouragement of all. They basically turned around and went, we tried, but we failed. There you go, Liverpool. Just pay us what we want now. So, say no more on that.
That's that optic, Mark, that I was speaking about as well.
Yeah.
Newcastle have to pull out all the stops to make him look as if they've done everything they can to convince him, and it hasn't worked. It's all public perception on it. They have to come out of it looking like they got to win. And we've offered him a new contract. And I'm sure if this deal happens, we'll see afterwards reports of Isak was offered this money, Isak was offered this many years, he was offered a release clause. all of that will come to light if this deal goes through, because they're just going to want to push that positivity on the Newcastle side.
So I've just checked. Yeah, I've just checked what these. So the one that Anfield sector, the last one I can see. Again, chat, please correct me if this is the wrong one. But it's from
the one from Douglas.
Yeah, so this is another one. MSI Douglas is another one that, again, I'm not 100% sure on the validity of their, credentials or how reliable they are with Newcastle News. I don't know. But again, Newcastle United are braced for a second bid for Alex Isak from Liverpool. Again, it just feels the same. Yeah, and it's not. I think this is where
regurgitated
constantly from different sources. It's one of those where are we meant to look at that as them encouraging Liverpool? Because if you want to look at it as something new, I don't take it as it is. But two sources on the same day are basically then put into the media. We're waiting for Liverpool to come to us. I don't know. Rick, I think this is why everyone's heads are very hot, isn't it? I mean, it's the same news day in, day out. The fixture is now out of the way. There is no blocker to the deal outside of them trying to find a striker. I mean, do you look at that as new news? Can that be twisted as maybe encouragement now? Or do you just see that as them again spitballing the same stuff?
Well, I don't even know the geezer works for. Like, is he a Liverpool journo, Newcastle journo?
He's Newcastle, I think.
So what's Liverpool following him for on Twitter? So I've gone through his followers. There's some big names that follow him, like in terms of journos and stuff like that. Liverpool Football Club, for some strange reason, follow him. Probably for banter about the Isak stuff. Who knows? But I mean, yeah, it's the same shit, just different name underneath it, innit? Like, I could put a tweet out later.
Josh fact checks his sources.
Oh yeah, 100%.
If he's quoting them, then he thinks that they're quite decent. So
yeah,
that's something that I'd keep in mind. He won't, because he doesn't. Even though Indy Kaler's got a lot of things right this year, Josh won't think him. He won't entertain him stuff. He'll entertain people who he thinks are legit with their news. So
he's a good journo. And like I said, what we won't do on this podcast is tell people that are unreliable reliable, because we don't know, and it's not our place to do that. We won't disrespect people like that. He is a good journalist. He's got a great following. He's followed by respectable people.
But when you click on his profile, he's got Northern Football Correspondent for Our People Sport. You click on Our People Sport, it don't exist.
I know what the iPaper Sport is. He's a legit journo. It's just why is this coming out again? I don't believe he's making it up. He's not. He's not. I'm not going to mention his name, but Baldy. He will have heard this, and Newcastle probably are. Newcastle probably are waiting for a second bid, but again, something's got to give. Every single day, you're logging onto Twitter, you're getting Isak wants to go to Liverpool. Liverpool want Isak. They'll bid if they get encouragement. Newcastle are waiting for a Liverpool bid. It is just this constant cycle of the same stuff over and over again. Ross, what the fuck breaks the cycle?
Isak signing or Isak staying. That's it. All of these journos, what they're doing is they're filling the silence. They are filling, when there's no news, they are recycling it, because, as Mark said, Liverpool has one of the biggest followings with one of the most engaging fan bases. It doesn't matter if someone just a journo just tweets the word Isak. There's going to be Liverpool fans underneath it just constantly going at it. And you look at let's have a look at outside sports media. It's exactly the same. They fill the silence. They're trying to get the engagement. We know Newcastle are waiting for a bid from us. We've known that. When did the 110 million bid go in? Weeks ago now. We've known for weeks that we're going to bid again. As Mark said, Josh does fact check, is kind of journos. And I have seen was it MSI Douglas on X for a while, to be fair. I don't follow him closely, but the only thing that breaks the cycle, Matt, is Isak signing, Newcastle maybe signing a striker, and then the dominoes fall.
But Paul Joyce tweet when he actually announces it, that's the cycle. Yeah. It's just ongoing.
Mark, I want to pop one to you quickly because we'll wrap up soon. But do you see Liverpool getting an Isak deal done before they get a deal done for a striker?
yeah, it's getting to that point now where Liverpool have got the money, so Liverpool, it just depends how much Liverpool are willing to pay and how far they're willing to go with it. But I think it's got to get to the point now where Liverpool's just got to say, right, this is it now. We've just got to bid. And I've just seen someone saying there about him, we'll go for him in January or the summer. I might say, yeah, for January. If it doesn't get done in January, Alexander Isak never plays for Liverpool Football Club, and that's it. It's now, possibly January, never next summer. That's just my opinion. I think by then Liverpool will look elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. And it just, I think we're all kind of at this point now. I think we've got I know it's really cliche and cheesy. I'm sorry, but I think we have to just trust them at this point as to what they're doing, because we're only seeing one side of it. Joyce hasn't said anything. Steele hasn't said anything. You know, people like Bascom or Dom King, the other suspects that normally chip in with Liverpool information, they haven't said anything. Liverpool are doing something. They are. We obviously just can't see it. I don't think they're sat on their hands. I don't think Newcastle's phone is cold and there's no contact. They've done a deal with Darwin Núñez, some 3 weeks ago. They would have discussed Alexander Isak, or a million %. But I think we've got to just trust that they are doing something, whether it's behind the scenes or they have a strategy that they're waiting to implement. We have to trust them and then ask questions after. Here he is, Benjamin. Hello, mate. You've joined literally as we're wrapping up. Well done, you idiot. But
he's probably a few pints down now as well, I'd imagine.
Well, he does the social media for the podcast, so it's not like he didn't know we were going live, the little helmet, but we'll let him off. And as Ali said there, something's happening. I hope so, Ali. I hope so. I certainly hope so. I mean, albeit it's the same shit we've heard. I mean, the one positive I'm taking is that there's 3 people in the last 24 hours from the Newcastle side that said they're waiting for Liverpool contact. So let's see what happens over the next couple of hours. Badger here with you over Julian Alvarez in August. I love Julian Alvarez, but the word is that his missus and him absolutely hated the UK. So I don't know how feasible or realistic that will be. EKTK is here. He certainly is here. Again, this is another point that I just want to put to you boys, because look at Luke's one there. If one of you lads can just quickly check that while I pose this question just on Gay. I've seen a few people talking about this, and I'll put this to you, Rick. Liverpool are not silly, are they? They obviously have a plan of how they're going to implement Ekitike and Alexander Isak in the same team. But do you think that comes as a longer-term plan at the detriment of moving Mo Salah on or changing formation?
I think it's a longer-term feeling. My personal opinion, Mo Salah leaves next summer. Anyway. Regardless of signing a 2-year deal, they signed a 2-year deal because they know the salaries will come back next summer, and we'll probably get 30 to 40 million for him, and Liverpool will take it. So Isak coming in there, Ekitike coming in there, it could be looking at the future in a swift change of tactics, the way Slot wants to line up. Because obviously we've got rid of Diaz, haven't replaced Diaz, so that's one winger out the door. Chiesa was going till certain situations have come up, so he's been made to stay. Apparently he's being called up to the Italian squad, so he'll be happy with that anyway. Obviously got Rio in the squad. Gakpo's still there. Gakpo's got a big season for me, because he could be one that's out the door next summer potentially, because he ain't an Edwards or Hughes signing. But I think it's a tactic switch coming up. And if you notice the first 2 Premier League games and maybe the Community Shield, Salah's not involved as much as what he's been the last couple of seasons. You've now got focal points in Verts, so Bosline a further role in some situations, so we're not heavily reliant on Salah maybe. Slot's openly come out and said that he wants to play like PSG type football, that type tactic. So again, that makes Salah a bit remote, if I'm being honest, in terms of how that they'll play that way. But yeah, I think you got to look at it. He's going to be missing 7-8 games in January for AFCON. And like I said, I think he goes in the summer. So I think it's long-term planning. You need someone to come in or two people to come in to hit his numbers. One person won't hit Salah numbers from that side, like a right winger type position. So I think Ekitike and Isak could both come in. Verts as well. You can add that in the same situation. Them three are Salah's replacement long term. So I do think we'll go two up top majority of this season. If Isak comes in. If Isak don't come in, we don't. But if Isak comes in, we'll go two up top with him and Ekitike. Ekitike is not going to be dropped out of the squad when Isak comes. They'll both be playing together.
Are we going to play a 4-4-2, Rick?
I won't say 4-4-2. Nah.
4-2-2.
Yeah, I think that one. Yeah. And I think Ekitike
4-3-1-2.
Yeah, Ekitike likes to drop deep. We see him in the first two games. He drops deep to pick the ball up and sort of pass it out to the two wingers. If he's got Isak in front of him as well, mate, who knows the damage them two can do together. It's going to be interesting. We just need to get through this week, and if we get Isak through the door, who knows what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Kev, I don't know if you're on the wind-up. Someone fact check that.
No, so he's on the wind-up. It's none.
Oh, cool. The Ben Jacobs tweet. So he has put, again, it's not really anything new, but Liverpool still have Mark Gay on their radar, but nothing advancing yet. Palace captain focused on Thursday's UEFA conference game at Fredrikstad. Liverpool prepared to do a late window deal if Gay decides he wants to leave. Crystal Palace remain willing sellers as they don't want to lose Gay on a free next summer. Liverpool would like to have Gay now, but consider Giovanni Leone as a first team ready and thus believe they have 4 elite centre-back options already at the club. I'm telling you guys now that deal's done. And
I think
once Thursday's out the way and they get their replacement in, I think... And this is not in the know stuff, so please don't take it as... But there was rumours in a couple of the group chats from lads we know that we trust. And you'll see it that Joyce put it out. And Joyce doesn't put stuff like this out unless he's confident that Liverpool were advanced in the deal to the point where the deal was done and Oliver Glasner put a stop on it because they need Gay or a replacement in for the European qualifiers. Obviously, they've not got the replacement sorted, so they've had to keep Gay in. I honestly believe that deal is done. And I think once they get past Thursday, I think Friday, Saturday, you will see Liverpool sign Mark Gay. I'll put my colours, nail my colours to the mast on that one. But look, I mean, we will try and do, obviously, we've got 5 days left of the podcast. We will attempt to do daily uploads and updates because it's going to spice up one way or another. It may not be the same people on the pod, but we will get people on to give you updates and have a chat with you guys because obviously we appreciate the chat massively. Same faces popping up, even if it's Rast calling Slot a bold fraud, or if it's Ali and the like, just having a chat. We really appreciate it. So we want to make sure that you guys are kept up to date and you've got somewhere where you can discuss it. So I know Twitter can be a bit repetitive. But we will love you and leave you because both me and Rick have been dying all weekend of illness and I'm running on low now. So Mark, Ross, Rick, as always, fellas, thank you ever so much for joining. Chat, thank you ever so much. Please hit the like, subscribe and share button for us. And until tomorrow, guys, up the Reds and peace out.